Okay, let's try this again. I don't know what I'm doing. I can make video essays, but this whole regular vlog thing is new to me. So this is a monthly show I want to start doing called Recommendation Roundup. I watch and read and listen to a lot of things. Some of them good, some of them terrible. And I know that I'm constantly looking for recommendations for stuff to read, watch, slash listen to. So I figured, why not start a video show where I tell people about stuff I like? So here goes. A movie I watched in the past month that I really liked was Anna Karenina. It's a movie from 2012. It's an adaptation of the book Anna Karenina, and it is surprisingly experimental for a adaptation of what I think is 19th century literature. Pretty sure. It has this framing thing where it's kind of a stage show, but also there isn't really an audience, so sometimes the characters are sitting in the audience of the stage show, and it's a little trippy. But it manages to simultaneously combine the things I love about the medium of theater and also the medium of film, and I highly recommend you check it out. The other movie I wanted to recommend was Me, Him, Her, directed and written by my one true love, Max Landis. I think it is possibly one of the best representations of an abusive relationship I have ever seen. It is trippy and fun, and also has one of my favorite gags in the "Why didn't you tell me I was gay?" Gag. So yeah, that too, highly recommend it. TV shows, I want to recommend the show Glow. I really like professional wrestling, which is sometimes awkward because I can tell when things are problematic, and oh my god, wrestling is so problematic. So I wanted to recommend Glow, which is a show about women's wrestling in the 80s. And I think it has a lot of the things I love about wrestling as far as the really absurd characters, and it discusses and lampoons the really absurd characters, and I love it, and also just all female cast, and it's awesome. If you watched the TV series Glow and you liked it, I highly recommend. They made a documentary about the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, the actual show that the TV show is based on. And it's a documentary where they interview a lot of the actresses who are in it, and it's a lot of little adorable old ladies talking about wrestling, and it's just great. So check that out too. So there are two books I want to recommend. The first is Virgination by Sarah Molsner. If you liked my critical look at Girl Defined, you'll love Virgination. It is a look at Christian purity culture from 1850 to around today. I think it's when was this published? Yep, around today. It's published in 2015. And it's great and also kind of hilarious. It's really well written. It's not stuffy. I often find when I read nonfiction that I love the content, but this is a slog to get through. Virgination is so not that. One of my favorite things I learned from this book was about muscular Christianity, which was basically this idea in the late 19th century where men were we're really close to Christ because we can get swole like Christ, and it's amazing, and I love it. So, yeah, Virgination, check it out. The other book I wanted to recommend is fiction, Illuminae. So I had seen this book around a lot, and I had read the description where it's it talks about the two megacorps fighting, and then it's her and her ex-boyfriend, and it's a romance, and I was oh, it's gonna be YA dystopia, really boring, poor world building, but it wasn't. It's totally awesome. So, first of all, it's this amazing format where it's written a futuristic epistolary novel where they have a series of different documents and stuff to look at, and it's really well done, as far as just bringing in characters and humor and using the medium well. Another thing I want to point out about it is that, like, while the romance is part of it, it is much, much more like Battlestar Galactica than, like, a CW show. Especially with the whole, we're this tiny fleet fleeing a military power, and stuff is going wrong, and it's great. I love it, and I also love its sequel, Gemina, and I cannot wait for Obsidio. This series is awesome. Definitely check it out. I want to recommend 2 podcasts. Okay, so I am a huge Star Trek fan, if you couldn't tell. And the thing about being a Star Trek fan is that, like, on the one hand, the fandom is huge. On the other hand, it's actually really small, because there isn't really, like, a constant flow of content, and it's very rare, for me at least, to meet other people who like Star Trek. So I've been listening to Women at Warp, which is, like, this awesome podcast with awesome ladies talking about Star Trek, and they'll also invite people from other podcasts to talk about intersections. There's a really great episode where they were talking about the representation of Indigenous people in Star Trek, which was really great, and I had, like, never really thought about it before. Like, so Women at Warp, I think, is one of the things I love about podcasts, where it's just sort of, they feel like they're, like, your friends. Women at Warp feels like it's, like, a bunch of my girlfriends talking about Star Trek, and it's awesome. I highly recommend. The other podcast I want to recommend was S-Town. If you exist with people who are into podcasts, you've probably been recommended it, like, a bazillion times, and it lives up to the hype, and it's awesome, and yes, go listen to it. I don't want to, like, spoil anything about it, but yeah, it's just, it's great. Go listen to it. So, like, want to recommend a video of video game gameplay, because the video game isn't out yet, and also I always feel weird recommending video games that I haven't played. So there's a new game coming out called Wolfenstein 2 Battle for Colossus, I think is what it's called. Basic premise is the Nazis won the war, I think because they had alien technology, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm not all with it with the Wolfenstein lore. Please don't get mad in the comments. And so you're fighting in Nazi-occupied America, and first of all, I love, like, dystopian premises where, like, the Nazis won, and, like, you're dealing with what the culture looks like in Nazi America, and how horrible and shitty it is, and the marketing campaign is, like, really great with that. They have a lot of promos where it's like, this is what television would look like in this time period. Like, here's, like, a Leave It to Beaver television series where his brother is gonna report him to the government for eating chocolate, and I'm just like, this is amazing. But the best, by far, that I've seen is they released gameplay footage for, like, I think it's like about 20 minutes to half an hour of gameplay footage. And it's like some early mission in the game, and you're, like, you know, in the Nazi base, and you're fighting the Nazi mooks, and there's a bit where 2 mooks are talking to each other, and one of them is saying to the other, you know, I don't get why these terrorists are killing us for just having a different viewpoint. I mean, don't they know that violence begets violence? And I'm just like, yes! I love this conversation between Nazis. It's great! Oh. Like, people on Twitter were joking that it was gonna be, like, before you shoot the Nazi guy goes, so everyone who disagrees with you is a Nazi then. But, like, they actually did it! They actually did it! Oh! Okay. Enough of me talking about Wolfenstein. I really wanted to recommend Jenny Nicholson's new video, What If Peter Wasn't Spider-Man? So chances are, if you watch me, you probably also like Jenny Nicholson. Someone commented on one of my most recent videos, Jenny Nicholson collab when, and, like, yes, I want that to happen so much. Like, I am the Ernie to her Bert. It would be an awesome dynamic. Please, if you're watching this, Jenny, like, collab, please. But yeah, imagine if Peter Wasn't Spider-Man is, like, 2 minutes long, and it's excellent, and I don't want to spoil it, so just go watch it. Okay, so there's a meme that's been circulating a lot lately, which is, Sometimes things that are more expensive are worse. And I don't think everyone knows the context of that meme. It's from the wondrous gay life of Caleb Gallo. And I'm gonna link to a clip that is like the minute and 30 seconds surrounding that one line, because it's so much funnier in context, and also like it's just a hilarious bit. Like, go watch it. And last but not least, I wanted to recommend Contrapoints' 15-minute film about gender dysphoria. It's beautiful. Like, it's a really great. I mean, okay, so I'm not trans, I don't experience gender dysphoria, but I feel like it's a really great way of expressing feelings that you can't explain using surrealist imagery. And it's really cool, and I love her so much. Go watch Contrapoints' Gender Dysphoria. So that concludes my recommendation roundup for the month of August. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.